I don't think I do it
But Arsenal started like a house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah. Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. And big up to you all. I hope you are all doing well, great, this lovely Monday morning. If you could still call it lovely, we're going to have therapy tonight. Of course, the final word returns with the foursome. It's therapy. I've already spoken to a couple of the guests saying, yo, you need to give me some therapy. Because right now, I'm on the floor. And I want to remind you all, yeah? Remember on that video, on this intro that I just played where it goes, never doubt your boy. It was never in doubt. I always told you. Remember I told you about this manager. Okay, I know there are supporters of Jesse, but he's got some big fixtures to obviously turn the tide of fan opinion around potentially. There are still some that, you know, all wholeheartedly back him. And who am I to judge? Because I did the same for the greatest coach to ever be at this football club. But there's levels to this shit. And Jesse isn't fit to lace that man's boots. I'm sick to the back teeth of the ball that we play. It's shocking. Yeah, Andy D says, haven't lost in 3. I mean, performance is diabolical, though. If that's your shtick, that's your shtick. If you like it, you like it. For me, it's not for me. Midweek fix will be back soon. Jay Smith. I know that's a different type of content, although still a panel show. Won't be this Wednesday, though, because I've got my kids because their mum's away. So maybe Thursday, something along that line. Shadow said, did I watch the Cardiff game again? No, I will never put myself through that. I don't get that. Oh, yo, you know, oh, pride. Yeah, we did well to come back. We should never be in that position to begin with. Ever. Yeah. Yes, it's Marty. Love that. Yeah. The general consensus, the general discourse is changing. And, you know, I 2 wins in 16. 2 wins in 16. And still people say it's all right. Everything's all right. Let me just say that number again. 2 wins in 16. Bruh. That's all I'll say for that. Right, listen, if you haven't already, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. Making or breaking of Jesse Marsch is about to happen. And the reason I say this is because I'm going to put a poll up as well. I'm going to share on my screen with you, as I always like to do. I'm going to share a graphic with you. I want to know your guys' thoughts. So we're going to have this poll run all the way through until the end of the video. Gavin says, Joe, you can't just blame Jesse for some of the individual performances. Too many players not up to scratch. Right, okay, yeah, so there are issues with the squad, but he's picking them and he's putting out the tactics. A different manager would change it. You know, yeah, the squad does need improving, but what do you want to do? Sleepwalk to relegation because you don't think some of the players are good enough? But I think, you know, is what it is. Anyway, I'm not going to do it because, you know, anyway. Favourable run of fixtures for Leeds United according to the fixture difficulty ratings on Fantasy Premier League. Now, if you actually look at them in their entirety, they are very favourable for Leeds United. This is make or break time now for Jesse Marsch. You know, CB says, Joe, you clearly don't want Marsch, but who would you want to replace him? I'd take Carlos Corberán for sure. Maybe if Graham Potter gets sacked from Chelsea, there's a chance that happens. Michael Carrick, I know it sounds mad, but he's doing a great job at Middlesbrough. There are good managers out there. So I don't think, you know, we're going to be, you know, short for numbers. Yeah, but right. LUFC21 says, Joe, you're saying sack him, but do you really want to be a sacking club like Everton? No, but if the manager's not doing well, then what are you supposed to do? Like not sack him, Like and say, oh well, we don't want to, you know, have a club that be a sacking manager. Just stay then, just keep him forever. If that's the case, why did you want Bielsa gone? Do you know what I mean? Just Vic, trust me, behind the scenes, they're already preparing this shit. In the likelihood that he might get sacked. It's true, right? They were doing it for Bielsa. Rads wanted Bielsa much sooner than he went, and he was told no. I think there'll be people at the football club who will be already discussing this. Of course they will. But he has got some huge fixtures to turn it round. He's got some huge fixtures to turn it round. So when we play Villa on Friday, if he wins that, then he's got some more breathing space, right? But I'm going to go on record as saying now, if he loses the next two, he gets sacked. He's got to win these next two. Do you agree or not? Let me know. Because you can't tell me, even the most hardened Jesse supporter and those that say I don't want to be a sacking club and those that say, you know, it's the players, etc. If he loses the next two, where are Leeds getting points from? Can we afford to say, do you know what? Yeah? Do you know what? Shall we just, wait till Southampton? Well, what if we don't get any points? So my question to you is, I want to know on the poll that I'm going to do, yeah, how many points Leeds United are going to get? Gail Dale says you and Connor should do a podcast together because you're both very critical, because there is a lot to be critical about. How can you not be critical? It wasn't even about, look, there's a manner in which you lose games. There's a manner in which you perform. And yesterday, the defensive display and the continuation of the same goals being scored against Leeds United is not all on the players. Kevin says no Marsh sacking. I as a fan, don't understand why you would want to just continue in this vein. Robbie makes a good point. Where are the signs that we'll win a game? Bearing in mind that we've won 2 in 16. Josh has got it bang on. How can people expect positivity? This is what I mean, bro. Everyone says, you've got an agenda, you've got this, you've got that. How can you expect me to be positive when we have won 2 games in 16? So how should we do this poll? If I'm being honest with you now, I think we get beat against Villa. I'm worried about Brentford. Forest will be a difficult place to go. I'd go as far as to say, currently, the current situation Leeds find themselves in, we'll get like 4 points. I'm serious as well. I'm not even joking you. Like, this is what it's like. I think we get about 4 points. That's bad, isn't it? That is really bad. But that's where my head's at right now. I think we get 4 points. Strauch, your man was at fault. Everyone's my man. Tony, what you on about? Everyone's my man. That there, see what I'm saying? You're twisting my words to try and create a narrative. Everyone who watches me week in, week out will tell you that I say Liam Cooper is our best left-sided centre-back. So where's he, my man? Where's Strauch, my man? It's not me who's saying get him at left centre-back. I back Cooper every week. So who's saying he's my man? That's mad. So points-wise, genuinely, thank you, Reese. Reese knows. Because I said yesterday, be careful what you wish for, people. Because everyone's saying, yo, Cooper, get him out. Voba's being brought in. Cooper, get him out. Strout was terrible yesterday. Terrible. And Voba came in the 6. And do you know how bad this performance is? Right? People were going wild because Voba made some good tackles. I'm going to be real with you now. Everyone's going, Voba looks like an awesome buy. We've seen 45 minutes. No, we've seen 30 minutes of him. I'm not writing the guy off. I think he will be a good signing. But what I'm saying, the way people, because it's so bad at the minute, are all of a sudden saying Voba's the second come. Oh, he looks like a right signing. We need to get him round all this. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. We've seen him for about 35 minutes. We were that bad that him coming on and running tackles and making some smashing tackles is everyone's going, oh, yeah, what a signing. Let's just, calm expectations for me personally, because I'm like, what? Like, is that what it's come to? That it's that bad? Yeah. that when someone comes on and actually puts a bit of effort in and throws a challenge in, that we're like, oh my God, you know? Realistically, there's only one, there's two, three, four. Adams has been great. Rodrigo's been great. Nonto's amazing. What I will say about Somerville, he got proper smashed into early on in that Cardiff game by the right back. He was never seen again. So that needs to change as well. That needs to change. When you're going to get smashed into, because you're going to get targeted, especially in the FA Cup against lower opposition, be ready for that fight. Because I think after that, he just sort of went missing. Nonto's the one that isn't. Andrew Marsh says Newcastle lost. And Newcastle are in the Champions League spots. Who gives a shit? We're not. We haven't won. We've won 2 in 16 games. It is not comparable. People said, well, Villa lost. And we're not Villa. We have won 2 in 16 games. That is some terrible, comparison to make, because Newcastle lost. Newcastle have a worse record than us in the 3rd round. Now, Newcastle fans would be kicking off if it was the same as this previous manager and they still had Steve Bruce in charge. But they can look at it and say, do you know what? We're in the Champions League spots. Who gives a shit? Who cares? But I care, because we're at the back end of the Premier League, and also, for me, can't see a plan forward. I seen people yesterday saying, what's the plan? What's the plan? I said this before Chelsea at home last season. Go check the receipts. I said it. Now, people then want to go to me, yeah, but you've been positive as well. Listen, I'm fickle, and I never want a manager not to do well. So I hope Jesse turns round, right? I hope Jesse turns round. He comes back on Friday. We beat Villa, we beat Brentford, we beat Forest. And everyone can turn round to me and go, told you. And I'll go, fair enough, I'm buzzing. But at the minute, I can't see what we're trying to do. We create moments of chaos, right? And we sometimes score from them. Doesn't look like it's a coherent plan. So it's not going to happen all the time, because there's no sort of, methodology when creating attacks. It's just hoofing it into areas, all that sort of stuff. And we can't defend. The system's not set up to defend. And changing personnel might improve it, but it won't sort it all out. Not to correct you, we've won 4 in 16, have we? Are you sure? I'll check that. Have we won 4 in 16? Let's have a look. I swear it's 2. You're going to fact check me though. Let's check now. Anyone know if we've won 4 in 16? Let's have a look. Does anyone know? Can anyone check? Chelsea and Liverpool, we won. Chelsea and Liverpool. Who else? Oh, so 4 in 17. Well, I said 2 in 16, didn't I? So I was right, yeah? Anyway, 2 in the last 16 matches. So there you go. Yeah, Wolves isn't in 16 matches, is it, Panda? It's not 16 matches ago. So, stick with you, boy. Anyway, never in doubt. It was never in doubt. All that sort of stuff includes cup as well. Maybe that the league performances. I don't know. And what I'm gonna say. Great point. None of our defenders read the game, which shows how poor they are. I don't agree with you, mate. Because, yeah, I don't. But anyway, that's by the by. We could be here all day talking about that. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, put in the poll. I want to know how many points. Mark says, Connor is the same, never satisfied. We was getting hammered last season with Bielsa. We will never be a Man City, Joe. I followed Leeds well before you was born. They're not going to get rid. I mean, they will have to, won't they? Because they got rid of Bielsa. And yeah, we were getting battered. But there was a plan going forward. This one, there is no plan. And, for those staunch, Bielsa's terrible and all that sort of stuff. I don't know if you caught yesterday in the away end. They were singing Bielsa's name yesterday. But do you remember them comparisons when Jesse first came in and started to get results and all that, and everyone were going, look at the points per game, man, look at the points per game. I don't know if any of you have had to get a chance to see this, but there, just put that on there for you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so Bielsa's overall Premier League stats: played 64, won 23, drawn 15, lost 28, win rate percentage of 36%, average points per game 1.3. Marsh Premier League stats this last season: played 12, won 4, drawn 3, lost 5, win rate 33.3%, and average points per game of 1.25. This season, yeah, as you can see, we're clearly going backwards. Played 17, won 4, drawn 5, lost 8. Win rate percentage 23.5, average points per game 1. Okay, so things are going backwards. And Jesse's also had 8 new players come in, and maybe we'll get some more as well. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Let's have a look. Don't include first season. It's irrelevant. It's a fluke. Oh my God. This is what we've resorted to. This is what we've resorted to, bro. Nothing against you personally, but because you're that much hanging on Jesse, you're willing to say that the greatest manager, or one of the greatest managers who came through the door of our football club and brought us back to the Premier League, you're willing to say it was a fluke. My days, that is insanity. It is insanity. And that's piss poor for me, that you will say that about him just because you want to bend over backwards to try and support the guy who has won 2 games in 16 and has no distinct style of play. The football is absolutely woeful. At least when I was going into games under the previous manager, because again, this is the only person we can compare it to. Yeah. At least when I was going into games, I felt we could do something. I felt we can do something. Not so much now. I don't. I have no confidence. I got confident after a point as well. And this is what I mean. I do fluctuate. Jarvis is brilliant. Yes, Bielsa tactics were worked out after 1 season. Marsh hasn't even worked out his own tactics. That is amazing. 4 games in 16. It's 2, man, not including cup. It's 2, not including cup. Right? This is what I'm on. 2, not including cup. Everyone's fact checking me. Let's have a look. You're looking at the league. Sorry, you're looking at the league. It's 2 wins in the last 16 games. 2 wins in the last 16 games, folks. 2 wins in the last 16 games. So it includes the FA Cup ties, etc. 3 anyway, right? Listen, if it's not 2 and it's 3, it's 4. I don't give a shit. It's not good enough, right? Anthony Johnson said it's 2 in 16, including the cup. Yeah, including the cup. If you want to take out the cups, whatever happens, it's terrible. Yeah. I don't agree, Ashtung Dave. I genuinely don't agree. I hate this notion that we have championship players. It's so lazy. It's so lazy, because what about them teams that are worse than us? Do they have championship players as well? Jamie says, apparently we played good football under Bielsa last season. We did, bro. Still played good football. Do you remember when we went to West Ham and won 3-0? Jack Harrison got a hat-trick. Still did bits. Do you know? Anyway, it's not about that. I'm only comparing it to now because it's the only, when we inevitably, hear me now, when we inevitably change the manager and we start performing, I will compare it to Jesse. and said, you know what an improvement. What an improvement we've seen. That's what will happen. You know? Because I can only compare it. I can only compare it to the most recent manager. And this guy's not fit to lace his boots, man. Not fit to lace his boots. Yeah, Jamie, okay, give me some context, right? One game against West Ham. Yeah, there was others as well that we won. Remember, Bielsa never lost to anyone in the bottom six. We beat Chelsea this season, and played very well against Arsenal. How many points did we get against Arsenal? None. Which is what you would say to me about Bielsa. So I'm going to come back to you with that, right? Do you know what I mean? It's been, oh man, honestly. Econ says, Joe, let me ask you this. What does Jesse need to do to earn your respect? So respect, I guess, is not the right phrase. I respect him. Yeah. I respect him. I think he's a great man. I think he's a great man manager. I don't know that to be fact, but I think it. He speaks very well, but tactically, I think he's inept, and he's the manager of my football club. It's not personal. I'm just saying, I think moving forward, it's not even about having my respect. I guess, I tell you what, Econ, if he wins games, then maybe. But what I'm saying is we're still now 12 months down the line and we're going backwards. We're going backwards. Ultimately, we're going backwards, people. It's not personal. And it's never personal in the chat. And I never take what you say to me personal. We all have high opinions. We're all highly strung. We all care about our football club. I get it. Yeah? But, the first half performance was absolutely woeful yesterday and not acceptable. Now, we will talk more about that. We will talk more about that tonight on the final word, when you will have differing opinions, yeah? You will have differing opinions. We will have differing opinions, some that are more positive than me, and I'm going to let them take reign. That's how we're going to start tonight's final word. Use a positive, boom. Let's do it. Right. Okay, let me just address something. Right, okay. Let's not make this about Bielsa versus Marsh, right? Marching on together. This is directly to you now, right? I've made it about Bielsa, you've made it about Marsh, right? Take that all out of the equation and ask yourself the question, do you think he is good enough? Stop comparing with the previous manager, right? Because you're clearly bending over backwards to support the guy that's in charge. But he's got 2 wins in 16 games and the performances are terrible. We've had 2 good performances. 3, if you count Liverpool. I mean, Newcastle, we were terrible. But he is not the right man. He is not the right man. No, we're not, Scally. We're not, I don't think. I don't think we are, bro. Exactly. I was speaking about this with Joe. I do not want the man to fail. I do not want the man to fail. But terrible. But the data doesn't suggest an upward trend, bro. I've just showed you that it doesn't. The data doesn't suggest an upward trend. It suggests a downward trend. We're going backwards. There is no upward trend here. I'll share that with you again. This is a backwards trend. We are going backwards. Now, if the data supported what you'd said, then yeah, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. Oh, well, there you go. Here's someone who's checked. We're a point better off. A point better off. A point better off. And we've got 8 new players in the door that are his players. You know? So what's the opposite, bro? What's the opposite? I know you follow me on Twitter. I seen it the other day. So if you send me and I'll share it. And then I can, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So if you want to share that with me, if you can define success. I'm not asking for trophies, bro. I'm not asking for trophies yet. But I think over the course of the season, we'll go down. Dog's snoring. I've just bought a new mic, by the way. That'll come by the end of the week. New mic and some new lighting and that. So thank you, everyone, for supporting the channel. It takes time to implement a system. Yeah, he's had a year, bro. He's had a year. Oh, so 1 point better off, but we've played a game less. Okay. If you judge us on performance, what is it going like? Yeah, Pele 10, exactly. Here's Josh. Ultimately, Josh is smashing the truth bombs today. Ultimately, no matter the manager, we've made no progress in a year with 8 players coming in. That's then on Marsh. So what I would say in response to this, stop asking him to do it. Stop asking him to do it. You know, stop asking him to do it. But they did it before. So I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm not a coach, unfortunately. I wish I was. Otherwise, I'd throw my hat in the ring. You know, I'd throw my hat in the ring. So, yo, I'm ready. Oh, Phil. People slip the Elsa for signing James. Well, Rasmus and Aronson have been really poor. Oh man, yo, he was talking about pride yesterday. I'm proud of them. What for? It was diabolical, my man. It was diabolical. Right. Let's go back to this graphic now. We've gone on a tangent. I knew that would happen because I feel very passionate about it at the minute, and that's where I'm at. Yeah, Chris Holmes is bang on the money. So this is it. So what should we go? 0 to 6, 6 to 9. Let's go 0 to 3, 4 to 6. Yeah, 6 to 9, and then 9 plus. Should we do that? Because I don't think any of us expect us to get more than that. Yeah, thank you, Michael Collins. Thank you. Right, let me put a poll up. 9 points minimum, says Jamie Kerr. And then do you genuinely think we will get 9 points? Mark, I don't want Jesse, yeah. So who come on your radar? I would take Corberan, bro. I would take Corberan. I genuinely would take Corberan. Right, I'm going to quickly put the poll out anyway before we start talking about our transfer stuff. I know there's a lot of stuff in there about Rutter and stuff, and we're going to talk about that. There's been updates on him. There's been updates on Unahi. Alex Scott at Bristol City. There's the third striker's been named. I don't know if you've seen this, but the third striker's been named. Andy, I could take a hug. I can't lie to you. I could take a hug right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Right, okay. So I'm going to go... how many points? How many games was it? Big up to you, Sykesy lad, with the new member. Is that Nick? I wonder if it's Nick. Big up to you anyway. How many points in next? How many? Let's have a look. What was the thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games. 6 games, right? How many points in next 6? Question mark. Yeah, now, I did see Dave's comment about who's he improved. Rodrigo has, without a doubt. How many points in the next 6 games? 1 sec. Right, so I'm going to go 0 to 3. Put 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 6 to 9, and then we'll go 9 plus. If anyone's going 9 plus, they've banged the red. So for me personally, I'm saying we get 4 points. That's brutal as well. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Yes, Nick. How was South Africa, mate? I hope you're doing well, bro. Nice to speak to you. New member of the Just Joe Football Show. Big up to Nick. He is a Barnsley fan, so... Yeah, I think we get 4. I think we get 4, which is brutal, isn't it? But use do that, and we'll come back to it right at the end. What we're going to do now is go through some of the transfer news, the latest transfer news. So this was mentioned yesterday. So remember, Ilian Meslier has been in the press a lot over the last week, 2 weeks or so. Apparently, Tottenham's next target for their goalkeeper position is David Raya of Brentford. So that, I guess, is good news for us. Also, Pickford is on the list as well. So that might mean we keep on to Meslier for a little bit longer. Obviously, he's been linked with Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and a host of other clubs. But it looks like Tottenham's main target is David Raya from Brentford. And you'd imagine they'll be able to pick up David Raya as well. So yeah, that's just a little update on that, because we need to keep Meslier. We're obviously going after a new keeper as well, because I mean, Robles, I keep telling people Robles for that second goal was not good yesterday. I mean, it was all crap, to be honest. Right, we're now going to talk about Unahi. Unahi's obviously been linked to Leeds United. There's been a lot of differing reports, and we're going to sort of go through it chronologically. So this is L'Equipe, who brought the news yesterday that Leeds United have actually made a £25 million bid for Azzedine Unahi. Now, we know Leeds United are massive fans of Unahi, yeah? Because Radrizzani said as much. Radrizzani says, I really like him. Victor Orta has spoken about him as well. So Unahi is someone Leeds United want. And of course, we know that we've let Click go. So they want to replace the midfielder position. Now, Unahi was one of the star players in that Moroccan side that got all the way to the final, to the third place playoff. So it says, we have made a written offer to Angers, or Angers, if you want pronunciation, estimated at about 25 million euros for Azzedine Unahi. But the club does not have the player's preference. So in effect, he doesn't want to come to Leeds United. Leicester are apparently interested in him. Napoli as well. There was even talk of PSG yesterday looking at Unahi as well. PSG are like Bayern Munich. They just get a monopoly. Of all the players in that league. But I don't understand. They don't need Unahi. They do not need Unahi. Now, Unahi has been at Angers, maybe not done so well. Victor Orta has been tracking him over the last 2 years. But his World Cup was really standout. That's where he really came to the fore. And Napoli, as I say, have made an offer estimated around about 15 million. But Leeds United have come in and said, listen, here's 25 million bags, take it or leave it kind of vibe. But he's not excited about the departure to Leeds. No disrespect. Why would you be? Why would you be? I'm not disrespecting my football club here, but when you, Econ will get to that, bro. As I said, I'm going to go through it chronologically, so just bear with me. So, of course, in another different situation, Leeds United might be a decent prospect. But, yeah, I need to use an ad blocker daughter sax glands. They're everywhere. If Leicester are coming knocking, even Leicester, they're more attractive than us. They played in the Champions League more recent than us, won a league, won an FA Cup. But when Napoli are knocking at your door, when you're top of Serie A and you're playing the football they're playing with the likes of Kavicheva, Kvaratskhelia, etc., Simeone, Osimhen, there's no comparison, right? But they're not willing to put the money we have up. Now, let's not forget the Italian league, Serie A, they're not stacked with cash right now. We had the issue with CDK. But I'm also getting, like someone said, like Jay Smith saying there, CDK all over again. Don't let this rumble on, because then it is just pure smokescreen. If you know he's not serious about it, move on and look at another midfielder if indeed you want one. Let's not waste time on it. I would love Unahi. I've seen him at the World Cup. Really, really good player and would definitely add. Can you imagine a midfield three of Tyler Adams, Mark Rocker, and Unahi? It's very, very good. Yeah, hopefully under a different coach, but that's for another day. But ultimately, if he's not up for it, then move on. Now, Angers are probably going to want to sell him to the highest bidder, etc. But ultimately, like CDK, like other players, the player's preference has to come into the thought process. Then it was broke on Twitter by Matteo Meretto, who normally gets quite a lot right. He said PSG are in for Ounahi. The Parisians take the lead and can close the operation in the coming days, as it had been announced on Phil Goal. Details remain. The idea is that he ends the season with Angers and joins PSG in the summer. But, however, that was then rubbished a little bit later on by Fabrizio Romano, who said, no, he's not going to PSG. I didn't think he would anyway. I didn't understand it. But Fabrizio Romano said no. But there is a lot of talk that whoever this unnamed club is, which I think might be Napoli, are willing to loan Unahi back to Angers. So Angers might go for that as well, you know? Yes, they're going to get less money overall, but ultimately it's players' preference as well has to come into it. And if they're then going to keep him till the end of the season as well, then it can only be good, right? Now, the most recent updates on Unahi came from Ryan Taylor just 2 hours ago. So it is credible and true that Leeds United are making moves, in terms of wanting to bid. So it says here, look, reports in France suggest Leeds' bid for Azzedine Unahi is closer to 25 million euros, which is about 22 million. So Leeds are going big. Appears PSG's name has been used to drive up the interest and price tag. Okay, well, we know PSG are not interested because Fabrizio Romano came out and said, no, that's not happening. Napoli, Marseille, and Almeria among clubs in talks to sign the player. Like I said, this is the main point as well. This was, 15 hours ago where he says to say Leeds are facing disappointment in the race to sign him because we've submitted a bid. Apparently, it's more than that, as he's just said, closer to 25 million euros. But the unnamed club are now in advanced talks over a deal with Angers where he could remain on loan to the end of the season. Well, Leeds United ain't about to be loaning him back, are they? Definitely not. Yeah? They're not going to loan him back. So it looks to me that Unahi, yes, we've got the money. Yes, we've put up the bids, but he doesn't want to come. So let's not get stuck into a situation where... Sorry, Jamie. I'll come back to that in a sec. Sorry, there's a lot of comments coming in, so I'm just reading it. But yeah, if Unahi doesn't want Leeds, then move on. Jamie says, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful then. But I can understand. But I can understand why you want Jesse out. So why do you want signings too? To improve the squad. The squad needs to be improved. If Jesse is sat, the new man might not want Rutter or a certain type of midfielder. That might be the case, but this happens at every single football club. Why are we different? It happens. New managers come and go. Saturday through Sunday, Monday. Sunday will sometimes grow. What's that off now? Saturday through Sunday, Monday. Sunday, no. Anyway, it's a rapper. But yeah, what I'm saying is, yeah, exactly. Digital Down or saying you can't stop moving forward no matter the manager. You can't just go, right, let's not sign anyone. Let's not sign anyone. There we go. I knew, man. Saturday through Sunday, Monday. Sometimes will Sunday grow. What's that? What's Superman? See, I knew that. I love that. I knew it was a song, but yeah. Get in there, people in the chat, knowing that. Go on, big up to you. That's why they call me the Tupac Shaquille, because I'm clean. Oh, honestly, I've seen the funniest video I've seen in a while. It's on my Instagram. It's a reel, but it's this Asian fella. And he goes, that's why they call me the what does he say? That's why they call me the Asian Tupac Shaquille, because I'm clean. And he's been deadly serious. It's brutal. Right, okay. So we're now going to talk. Well, Angers. We know about Angers. It looks like Angers doesn't want a move to Leeds United. And like I've said, I can't really blame the guy. Before we move on to a potential other one, someone says, I thought it was Craig David. No, yeah, he was in my head at the time. But that's took a drink on Tuesday, took a further drink on Wednesday. We were making love on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Took a further drink on Tuesday. Right, okay, so smash a like on the video. Yeah, we've got 210, 663 people in the house. So big up to you. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Right, we were going to have a look at potential midfield option if Leeds United do not get Unahi, which at this moment in time, it looks like we're not going to get Unahi for me. So there's noise that Leeds United want to target Alex Scott. Alex Scott, who is a Bristol City midfielder, currently playing his trade in the Championship. Their manager, Nigel Pearson, has insisted he wouldn't accept 12 million as Alex Scott attracts Premier League interest from Leeds United, Wolves and Tottenham. I will share the article in a sec, but before I do, I just want to get to Tom's super chat, who says, JM either has no tactic gameplay or JM has failed at teaching the squad his tactics. Not one fan can say they've seen a tactic identity. Yeah, well, there you go. I think you bang on the money. Did someone say Tottenham? Yes, we did, bro. I hope you're doing well. I can't wait. You know, I didn't even realise till I looked at the fixtures this weekend. It's the Manchester derby, and then on Sunday, it's the North London derby. That is going to be a decent weekend of football. Unfortunately, Leeds United will have been beaten at Villa Park on Friday, so it'll probably ruin the rest of the weekend. But yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's have. I'm saying all this so that you can all come back at me and say, I told you Jesse's the man when we beat Villa. So Bristol City manager Nigel Pearson insists he won't accept 12 million as Alex Scott attracts Premier League interest from Leeds, Wolves and Tottenham. Speaking to the Bristol Post, there are shades of Jack Grealish in the way the Scott glides around the pitch. An ethereal elegance. I've never heard that word before, but it's nice. An ethereal elegance to those shimmying shoulders. I think whoever's wrote this article, Dan Owen, should be a poet. There's Dan, listen to that. That's nice, isn't it? To know that a player has ethereal elegance to those shimmying shoulders and the turn of pace to match. Robins fans have seen some rather thrilling young talent pass through the gates of Ashton Gate in recent years, but 19-year-old Scott could prove to be the pick of the bunch, the pinnacle, if you like, the best of an already impressive lot. And according to CBS Sports, Leeds, Wolves, Bournemouth, Leicester are tracking the so-called Guernsey Grealish. I like it. Has he got calves like Grealish? He's got a long way to go yet. So too are Brighton and Hove Albion. Listen, if Brighton and Hove Albion are linked to a player, then he's decent. It is what it is. There are a lot of stories out there and a lot of speculation, Pearson says, and without adding fuel to speculation, we are aware that there is quite a bit of interest in some of our younger players. As it stands at the minute, we have not received anything firm in terms of bids. Just for Matt, Tottenham Hotspur reporter Alistair Gold adds, Spurs have scouted Scott extensively in recent months. Then again, he only needs to look at other Championship import Jed Spence, not to mention one Jack Clark, to realise that the grass in North London is not always evergreen, but they are set for investment from QSI, I believe. Yeah. Our chairman is the only man, get this, yeah, our chairman is the only man that is best mates with Nashiri or whatever his name is. No, that's Farhad Nashiri at Everton. What's he called? The guy at QSI, the one who's going to get involved with Tottenham. But our chairman, yeah, our chairman's best mates with this guy. He spent the whole World Cup in Qatar with this guy, and somehow he's letting him invest in Tottenham. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, the investment might not happen, Matt, but it's the fact that our chairman's best mates with this guy. We had links to the Aspire Academy over in Qatar. Like, what's going on? Nasser Al-Khalifi, that's it. But then I'm seeing, and then there was talk of, potential interest and all that sort of stuff. Listen, I'm not wanting to sell my soul to the devil, but we need some investment. And if they're going to invest in Tottenham, then Tottenham fans will be buzzing. But our chairman's like rubbing shoulders with him, best mates and that. Why don't you ask him for a few quid? You know what I mean? Make it happen. So Alex Scott, one to watch. And maybe Leeds United will make a move for Scott if the deal for Unahi doesn't happen, which at this moment in time, again, there is a lot of talk that Leeds United are serious and they have tabled a bid. But listen, we've been here before, haven't we, with CDK? We did the same. Do the club know that he doesn't want to move and therefore we'll just let this one ramble on and say, we tried. We tried. Is what it is. But look, they are doing something, though, which is a positive. Because for the last 3 January windows, we spent the ground sum total of £1 million. 1 million over 3 January windows. Not acceptable. So if they get Voba and if we get Rutter, then I can't really complain. You know, I still think they haven't invested enough and would like to see them spend more. But 2 players, I'm better than I was prior. I'm better than I was prior. So, one to watch, Alex Scott at Bristol City. But like I said, there's a lot of other players or other clubs linked with him. Let's remember as well, like what I will say, Leeds have quite a good track record in getting players from the Championship and being able to show them the pathway. You know, we've seen that with some of the players that have come up. Greenwood, obviously, was at he was at Arsenal when he went from Sunderland. But basically, you've got Greenwood, you've got Gelhardt, you've got Perkins who scored, you've got Mateo Joseph. We can show that there is a pathway that maybe Spurs can't, you know, because like the guy mentioned, Jack Clark, and of course, Jed Spence. So maybe we can show the pathway, which might mean we can steal a march on him. James Marshman just tweeted out about Ounahi recently as well, just to say that Leeds are currently the highest bidders. However, Napoli are also keen and maybe will loan him back, which we've spoken about, which means, you know, that'll... Yeah, I think we're not going to get that one done, are we? Unfortunately. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. Someone's just tagged me in a couple of our articles. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything while we're live. I think someone had just put in the chat, yeah, Alfie McCalmont has joined League 2 Carlisle United on loan. I feel sorry for him because he should have been loaned out before. He's basically been stagnating for 6 months. I don't know why the club kept him around and should have let him go out on loan in the summer. I think they've been, oh, look at that. Chelsea reached verbal agreement to sign Joao Felix on loan from Atletico Madrid. There you go. Top player. Do well in the Prem, I'd imagine. He's absolutely stagnated, and he at Atletico Madrid. Right. So there's some breaking news for you, but it doesn't really affect Leeds United. Right, we're now going to Spork. Why do I keep saying that? We're going to speak about signing Rutter, okay? So I'm asking you the question, Rutter done. Is it done? Do you think it's done? Do you think it's close to being done? Well, a lot of news outlets now are reporting that it is close to completion. So the Whites are locked in talks and are set to play a club record fee in order to land him. He wants to come. He's not been training. He's not going to take in any of the friendly games coming up. And sources have confirmed that Rutter's personal terms are all but agreed, and Hoffenheim did not risk him in their winter break friendly with Wolfsburg. I almost malfunctioned there. And Director of Football Alexander Rosen admitted over the weekend that they had little choice but to rest him, implying that a transfer was on the horizon. So there you go. It looks like he's going to be coming in. And a big shout out to Matt who's watching as well. I just wanted to share this with you that came from Opta. Hoffenheim's Jorginho Rutter has had 17 take-ons in the opponent's box in 2022-23, with only 3 players in Europe's Big 5 leagues ahead of him. And look at the names that are ahead of him. Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and Lionel Messi. So I say to someone like Sax Glenn, you are incorrect. You are incorrect. I think he adds something to us. Like I say, in terms of the 2 best players in our side this season, bar Tyler Adams, so from an attacking sense, if you take out Melier as well, are Willian Yonto and Rodrigo Moreno. Now, their successful take-ons, etc., are the highest in our squad, which sort of, backs up that theory. And Rutter is ahead of them in all the underlying numbers, which will be one of the reasons why Victor is going for Rutter. There was an article done by Y Scout, which we know Victor Auto uses as well. So Rutter, I think it's a good bit of business. A lot of us think it's a big price. I was listening to Phil Hayes' podcast today as well, and in that it's not a big price when you consider what players go for in today's age. And they were talking about more so Rodrigo, saying at the time he's our record signing. But if he continues in his goal scoring form, Rodrigo, then the price that we've paid for him will probably all look back and go, well, actually, wasn't that bad. Good deal in the end. Do you know what I mean? But it's because we've been out of the Premier League for so long that when we're spending that kind of money, it's mental. It's mental. Because remember when we signed Luke Murphy, our first £1 million player since like Creswell. You know what I mean? Mental. So, yeah. We're in the big leagues now, and that comes with it, obviously, big transfer fees. So that one looks like it could be done. Hopefully it will. I think the one that's going to rumble on is Unahi, but I would just say at this moment in time, like, move on. Let's go get Alex Scott. Let's go get whoever you want from the continent, because they'll have players that we're not even aware of, right? This is the thing. Victor Auto is a good talent scout, man. I don't care what you say. You've just to look at the young players that are coming through the football club to back that up, for sure. Sinistera as well. Let's not forget about Sinistera. Big up Matthew LUFC Jenkins. Somerville as well has been great. And these are all players. This is what I'm saying when you talk about Victor. Nonto, Somerville, Melier, Strauch, all these players all came in for next to nothing. Tajun Buchanan, please, says SLY or Sly. Is that the Canadian guy? Pace to burn, would be all over that. I did bring up this because I thought it might be something that Leeds United would be interested in, but it turns out, remember Graham Smith mentioned the three strikers that Leeds United are interested in. Well, that name's been revealed now, and we're going to talk about him in just a sec. But I thought maybe we could also enter this race for a well-coveted striker, Tareem Moffi. Southampton have submitted a bid. West Ham have said at this stage they're not interested. But other Premier League clubs are thought to be keen on the Nigerian frontman, Moffi. But that was before... sorry, let me clear my throat. That was before I read... One sec... Graham Smith's article about the current state of play in the Leeds United transfer window. So we're going to get to that in just a second as well, because he sort of like bookended it all. So we'll see. So make sure we're all caught up on what I did want to discuss. Yeah, so I thought maybe that other striker could be Moffi. Maybe that other striker could be Moffi, but it doesn't look like it's going to be him. So Graham Smith did an article, and we're going to go through it together, so we can have a little read through. Yeah, thank me later, folks. Quite a good article. Big up as well. Do you know what? There's 700 people watching on this. This is absolutely amazing. So I'm so grateful for your continued support on the channel. It means an awful lot. We hit 17k. Continue to smash the like. I'll be back tonight at 8 o'clock as well with the final word, with some other Leeds fans that will have a bit more of a positive spin, and therefore it'll be a little bit less Joe-centered, because I'm aware I get very emotional. I don't like the current manager, so it's nice to get other people's opinion. Steve Carey says Enzo Lafi would be a better signing for Leeds. I think Cage did a video on that. I don't know much about him, so I couldn't tell you. So Graham Smith did this article about Leeds United's January recruitment. So he said over the weekend it emerged that the Whites are keen on Hoffenheim striker Jorginho Rutter. Okay. Leeds are yet to lodge an official bid for Rutter for any strikers on Victor Otto's list. I don't agree with that. I think we will have, but do like the look of the Frenchman and remain determined to bolster Marsh's attacking options before the transfer window closes. He's attracting attention from a number of clubs, and Leeds are not the only Premier League side keeping tabs on him. Listen, Graham knows a lot more than me, but it seems a lot further down the road than any of us or that suggests for me personally, because we've already agreed personal terms, being kept out of training, etc., etc. So the fact that we haven't labelled the bid, I'm not too sure. He did go on to say Coventry City's prolific frontman Victor Gyökeres is another admired by Orta and his recruitment department, although Sky Blues boss Mark Robbins has insisted the 24-year-old, who has 12 goals from 25 championship outings this season, is staying put. Money talks. If you put money in for Coventry, they're going to take it, yeah? Dele Alli going cheap? Nah, not for me. I remember when people would try to say Ross Barkley, etc. It's a mad one. Victor is going nowhere, he said. I can tell you now he's going nowhere in January. Absolutely no chance. I've spoken to Vic, Coventry's incoming new owner, Doug King, reported by the Coventry Telegraph to be within 24 hours of confirmed takeover, has also told fans that their club will not be sellers. Well, that's a load of BS, isn't it? It's a load of BS. You can say it. You can say it. You can give it the big licks, but let's see. Let's see. And then this seems to be the third striker. So remember, we spoke about the third striker, who that could be. Could it be Shea Adams? You know, could it be Moffey, who Southampton have been linked to? Well, it turns out it is this man here, Sebastian, and Americans might know this guy who watch my channel, Sebastian Drusi, Argentinian player who plays at Austin FC in the MLS. So he seems to be the third striker, maybe third on the list, behind Rutter, behind Gyökeres, but he is one that has been linked. You can see a lot of green there in terms of who he is similar to statistically. Rafa Silva, Ismail Assar, who Leeds United were interested in. But yeah, not a lot of household names there. Joel Pirro as well. A lot of people have mentioned him before and said, yes, you know, I'd be all over that. So yeah, we were linked to Joel Pirro, I think, in the summer as well, right? If we have a look at some of his numbers, obviously spent time in Russia for Zenit St. Petersburg. But look, this season has 22 goals in 34 games during the MLS. But what I will say about this, like I Am Den here says, look, Drusi scores wherever he goes. Yeah, I mean, started at River Plate, went to Zenit, and has had a really profitable season in the MLS. And this is no disrespect to the MLS, but there is a marked difference from MLS to starting in the Premier League for Leeds United. I will say that much. But he is the name that Graham Smith has name-checked in his latest piece, saying Leeds have also been linked in recent weeks and months with Sebastian Drusi of MLS side Austin, a forward with a different profile to Rutter and Gyökeres, having featured across the front line and in an attacking midfield during a career with Zenit St. Petersburg, River Plate and Austin. He enjoyed a prolific 2022, scoring 25 goals in 38 appearances. And the Whites have made it known that Orta is working on 3 options. But when it comes to any kind of preference, the club are keeping their cards close to their chest. I think the preference clearly is Rutter, then for me it would be Gyökeres and then maybe Drusi. Michael says, Joe, can't knock the MLS. I mean, I can. And he said, we couldn't afford Almiron's boots now. Yeah, that's now, bro. How long's he been in the Premier League? Come on. Come on. What's this mean, CB? What? Say what? So here's a little bit more on Sebastian Drusi. So can play main position just behind the striker. Maybe we go for Drusi alongside another. Other positions, left wing and centre forward. Current market value is 15 million. Did transfer from Zenit St. Petersburg to Austin for 6.4 million back in July 2021. And as I said, has had a very profitable season in the MLS. So one to keep an eye on, Sebastian Drusi, Argentinian, playing in MLS for Austin. Apparently, he is the one that, you know, Leeds are, you know, he's the third striker that they're interested in. Sorry, I was just really shocked by Flash Clog's opinion. It's nearly knocked me off my chair there, but there you go. Then they go on to speak about Rodrigo, and I just want to share this about Rodrigo because I'm very, very harsh on him, and my opinion is changing. I'm never one for just if I need to change it, I need to change it, right? And I have been wrong on Rodrigo, because yes, okay, he might not help in the build-up phase, etc., but the guy is putting the ball in the back of the net. It turns out with 11 goals this season, now when you include the one in the FA Cup, should have had 2 because he should have scored the penalty. Rodrigo Moreno is the highest scoring Spaniard in Europe's Big 5 leagues this season in all competitions. So maybe maybe Angus Kinnear had a crystal ball and knew that he would return to his position as the international number 9. Obviously, Spain have had a change of coach now, so maybe he gets back in and leads the line for Spain. I'm not too sure. I think I'd rather him than Alvaro Morata. But yeah, with 11 goals, Rodrigo Moreno is the highest scoring Spaniard in Europe's big 5 leagues this season. So big up to Rodrigo Moreno. And Graham Smith just signs off his article, really, just touching on the general consensus among fans, I think, and all of us, was that we would get a left-back and a striker. Then we were linked to Unahi, and there was a lot of people saying, oh, no, they only want a left-back and a striker. But he is saying here, and despite suggestions from the club in December that a left-back and a striker would be the January additions, in an ideal world, the YEP understands it's possible that they could now also add a further signing in another area of the pitch. Okay, so I think that will likely be midfield. And he goes on to say the midfield options have been reduced due to, the exit of Matthias Klick. He wanted to play more football naturally. And then obviously we know about Radrazani, who spoke about Azzedine Unahi at the World Cup. Victor spoke about him, etc. And like I said here, look, Unahi is playing incredibly in an incredible context. So, but he did also sort of like say he wasn't that great at club level. But there you go. Napoli seem to be the one leading the race for the Angers midfielder. And apparently he might go back on loan to Angers. So we'll have to watch this space with that one. Joe Gelhardt as well. I think Leeds United are open to a loan move for him. Based on yesterday's performance, I can understand why. I mean, I don't think the system suits him personally. And sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes, you just don't suit what the manager is trying to do. And in this case, I don't think I don't think Joffrey does. I don't think Joffrey does. Now, if you remember right at the start of the video, because we're just coming up to an hour, I want to thank you all for your support. It was loads of numbers today. But before we leave, remember right at the top of the show, I asked you, based on current performances and current trajectory of the football club, out of these next 6 fixtures, which on paper are very, very winnable for Leeds United. So, how many points will we get? And I asked you in a poll. Okay, I'm going to look at that poll now. And 39% of people said 4 to 6. Now, I've said myself it'll be 4. 6 to 9. 30% of you, have said 6 to 9. 0 to 3, 17%. So there's people that think, we could end up with 0 points or just 1 win. And 13% have gone for 9 plus. Quite a lot of people voted in that as well. I think we get between 4 and 6. That's me personally, but hopefully I'm wrong. Look, I'll continue to break the news as and when it comes. Probably be back tomorrow with some more transfer news. Hopefully, Leeds United move on from Ounahi because it looks like he's going elsewhere, and we get closer to bringing in Jorginho Rutter from Hoffenheim. Remember, I will be back tonight at 8 o'clock with myself and 3 other Leeds fans on the panel on the final word, where we'll be discussing everything concerning Leeds United from a performance perspective and tactical perspective based on the most recent run of results, more specifically Cardiff and the FA Cup. There are some people that are pro-Jesse. There are some a little bit more positive than me. So we'll be able to get their opinion on it. So make sure you join me for that. Smash your like on your way out. In terms of who's on, unfortunately, JUSTJOE can't make tonight. He's back in pre-season training. So JUSTJOE can't make it tonight. So it's myself, it's Rocco, it's Max, and it is Luke from the Auto No Better podcast. So a decent foursome. The final word, the evening after every game. So remember that. So I'll see you at 8 o'clock for that. Thanks as always for tuning in. Smash a like on your way out and enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully I'll see you at 8 o'clock. Be there or be square. Peace out.